Okay, so we got this air compressor here. This was a reman compressor that went on that reman engine that we had, the one that was all waterlogged. So we're gonna try and, it looked like the compressor was new on it. So we're gonna try to take the top half of this compressor, because this one's made to mount vertically, 90 degrees straight up and down. And we have one that lays over on its side, like 80 degrees tipped sideways. And we're gonna take the bottom of the one that we need to take the top of the other and make a franken compressor. We're gonna just try it. Hopefully this will work here. So we're gonna take the top off of this one, the top end of this compressor, and if the crankshaft is the same size, we'll use the new bearings that are in here, and then we'll swap it over to the bottom that has the right angle for the drain hole. The way it mounts on the engine, it has to be over like almost 90 degrees tipped to its side instead of straight up and down. So we'll see if we can take these two compressors, the two pieces, the top half of one, the bottom half of the other, and marry them together and make one good compressor that we need for this MCI. The little bolts on the rod ends here, on the rod caps, have these little bend over tabs we got to bend out of the way. The other one didn't have that, but this one has these little bendy tabs like that. We got to get them out of the way so we can get the bolts out. Should be a little bearing in there too. Is it stuck to the cap? Yeah, that's good. Does it look good? Now, is there, remember how it went? Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a mark on it or something?
Yeah, so this part, that's like bigger than over here.
Yep.
We go on the bottom. So.
Put the top of the other one on. We need to make sure that the intake thing is facing on this side. I have to whack it with a dead glue. Lay it down and then hit this part to separate.
Hit this part?
Yeah, because we're trying to separate the two. Hold this part and hit this down. Lift that up out of there. There we go. There it goes.
different?
Well, the crankshafts were different sizes, so that made it a little bit more difficult. I couldn't use the brand new bearings that came out of the one, but we got it together. This video is sponsored by Jackery. Jackery makes this solar power station. This is the Explorer 1000 V2. It stores just over 1 kilowatt hour of electricity, and you can use up to 1,500 watts continuously on it. It has multiple plugs, DC and AC. You can charge all of your devices out if you're out like camping or on a picnic. We took our thing out here. We're charging all of our devices, our drones, our phones, our cameras, stuff like that. You can run your internet at home. You can run your refrigerator off of it in an emergency situation. We're using a 200-watt solar panel here, charging it. Solar power generators are really nice to have. You can also plug them into an AC wall outlet so you can have them charged from the grid at home. And then we also have the smaller, this is the 300, Explorer 300. So it's 300 watts of electricity, so a little bit smaller. And it's great for charging your phone and things like that while you're out. And this has a 100-watt solar panel that we're charging here outside with it. Recently when I went camping, I took this little one with us here at the 300 and was using it to power a fan all night long. Here I have the Explorer 1000 outside charging with the solar panels. These are the 200-watt panels in the sun here. And it is charging about 170 watts, so it'll take several hours for it to charge back up. But it's nice to have that where you can be out in the wild and just charge off of the sun with the solar power. Jackery also has an app that you can download, and then you link it with the Explorer, and from there you can log in and you can monitor the battery charging. If you plug it into a wall outlet, it has an emergency charge setting that you can actually click and activate. And when you do that, it'll charge up to from 0 to 80% in just 45 minutes in the emergency charge mode. If you're in the market for a solar power generator, check out the Jackery line. I'm going to put a link in the description below. That's definitely compressing. Now we just got to get all the fittings swapped around and everything here. And these weatherhead sockets really come in handy. I'm going to put a link in the Amazon description to one on Amazon. Well, that's a good sign. We got it installed and it is actually building air, so it's working. Well, now that we got it building some air, this thing has massive air leaks. We're going to try and get it up the hill now into the shop so we can address that and some other issues that it's got. The muffler and exhaust is just falling off of this thing, so it's going to sound really loud. So actually it'll probably sound really cool. compressor that we worked on, it left a trail of oil up the hill, and it's just leaking oil right out of it. So it's building air, so it got us enough to get it up the hill, but we're gonna have to order a new compressor for it. Yeah, I told the client I'd only charge him an hour of labor on that compressor if it didn't work. It was just a gamble we were trying, and it's not worth messing any more time on it. We'll just order a new one. But a new one is like $1,400. These are getting very hard to find for these MCIs where they lay over sideways like that. Has so many oil leaks on it. Everything is just a mess. So we're going to clean it up so we can try to identify where things are coming from. The fan gearbox is overfilled. I think that leaked down on the engine too from the top. It's leaking coolant from up there above the radiators. And then there's a couple of oil leaks that is just oil everywhere. Here's the muffler's not even attached. It's flopping around in there, and it doesn't actually line up anymore, so we got to get it to match up and try and hook it back up with a clamp. Well, now that it's cleaned up, maybe we'll be able to identify where the oil leaks are coming from, because it was such a mess everywhere. The shutdown thing, the air thing is turn it off. Turn it back on. Hang on a second. It's in shutdown mode. You have it in run? Is it in run? Turn it back to run. Just hold the starter down a little extra long so it gets oil pressure. Hold the starter down a little longer than normal. Yeah, we've had to jump this bus every time, but the batteries seem to have good voltage, so we're going to clean up all these connections and see if we can get a better contact on there. We don't have to use the jump pack for it. Obviously wasn't making good contact. It's been arcing out. That one looks like somebody re-welded or melted some stuff to make a terminal. Or is it just melt and remelt itself? So the radiator's leaking up here. There's a bunch of silver solder that's been done to it, and the surge tank up here is just leaking everywhere. He had a bunch of JB Weld and stuff like that on it. We're going to clean that all off and redo it. There's a lot of corrosion in this battery tray. We're going to replace this battery. Voltage is terrible on it. The top one was good, the bottom one was not. So we got the new compressor in and on. The air dryer was purging and leaking air the whole time no matter what. So we went ahead and replaced the air dryer. So it's got a new air dryer now and the new compressor. And we're going to start it up and make sure it airs up here now. we're going to be able to build air, we can't. And this airbag's got a hole in the side of it, and it's just blowing out the side. So we're replacing this airbag, and we take it apart, and we can see the inside, like the layer of rubber's coming apart, and then it's extremely dry rotted on the outside too when you look at it close here. We get the airbag replaced, we build the air pressure, and then it starts leaking out of this air tank. It's blown out, it's rusted out around where the strap's at to mount it. So now we got to replace an air tank too. It's like we keep finding major air leaks, getting them fixed, thinking we're going to be able to build air, and then another thing, and then another thing. So this is going to be on hold now while we order these new air tanks in again.
See that white smoke rising up the holler through the trees, and from a mile away you can hear them play as they climb that hill with ease. But at the top of that mountain there's a new life waiting for those who can make the run. If they can make it to the top, Scott will put them in the shop till their new life has begun. Mountain, where the buses come to run. Bus Grease Mountain, we're gonna get that big job done.